Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Crypto's News. It's me, Omar Bam, aka Crypto, here to give you your daily update on what's going on in cryptocurrency this week. We used to do daily shows, but we're back to weekly, which is actually quite nice because it lets me actually focus on what are the most important things that you need to know about rather than trying to fill a show for the day, and I might include stuff that's not necessarily super relevant. So I'm excited to be here with you guys. It's been a rather crazy week. If you've been following the cryptocurrency market, looking at prices, and you probably have also become aware of just how nuts and bonkers things have been going. Bitcoin breaking $50,000. We're going to be covering that. We're going to be covering a bunch of other things, some projects you might want to keep on your radar, an airdrop you might want to claim. So stay tuned, guys, and you will be hearing about that shortly. Grab yourself a nice beverage, sit back and relax as we dive into this week in crypto's news. Okay. So let's start off by looking at the prices, as we always do. We have here right now a crazy amount of 24-hour volume, $99.81 billion, market cap over $2 trillion for cryptocurrencies. That's including everything. So that's the highest that I've seen in a long time, I'll tell you that. Bitcoin dominance right now at 50.1%. Ethereum dominance at 16.4%. Looks like Ethereum prices have not gone crazy today, only at 22 gwei. So might be a good time to get some transactions going if you are in the market for those kinds of things. You've been waiting for cheaper prices, could be ripe time. Bitcoin right now, $51,827. It has just continued to climb and climb day after day. It had a little bit of a reprieve yesterday, pretty much sat still because of some news that we heard about coming from the Fed, but it has resumed its climb now, up 17.3% over the last week. Massive. And we have Ethereum also doing quite well. It's up 14.4% over the last 7 days, up 5.3% over the last 24 hours. It's at $2,772 right now. So a huge amount of liquidations have taken place. This is traders who are trying to time the market and try to take a bet using a borrowed crypto or Bitcoin that they don't have in order to place a bet on whether the market goes up or down. So if you think the market is going to go down, you open up a short, and if the market goes down, you can multiply your gains, but just as equally, on the other side of things, if the market goes up, you can lose all of your collateral there that you had put up to borrow that extra Bitcoin or Ethereum or whatever you were trying to take a position in. So we have a huge amount of liquidations that have taken place over the last 24 hours. Let me actually refresh to double check and make sure that this is the most recent. So over the last 24 hours, we have $84.68 million worth of liquidations for Bitcoin. So, and you can see 71.27 million of that was positions that were short Bitcoin. They probably thought things were going to go down. We had been hearing from the Fed, as we're going to talk about in just a minute. And unfortunately, it did not work out for them today, as they actually gave fuel for Bitcoin to climb higher today by getting liquidated. And it was the same across the board. Ethereum, huge amount of liquidations on the short side mostly. Always there's going to be a little bit of volatility up and down. So you're going to see liquidations happening on each side depending how tight people set their limit there for liquidation and so on, how much collateral they added, and how much leverage they're using, but huge, massive amounts. And I think that's part of what's driving the Bitcoin price even higher up today is some of these liquidations. So you can see here, Eric Crown, a trader that I respect a lot. I've had him on the show like twice, pretty sure. Definitely check out his channel. That is the Crypto Cave, right? Crown's Crypto Cave, but he is talking about the number of consecutive days that we had green candles for Bitcoin, and we just ended a streak yesterday. It was 8 days in a row of Bitcoin climbing and climbing. He said very impressive. Similarly to how an extreme outlier of consecutive number of red days is a signal of a strong bear market, so is a consecutive green for a bull market. So seeing all these days in a row breaking the average, which the average for Bitcoin, average green days is just 3 days in a row. So 4 days in a row put this latest run up for Bitcoin in the 84th percentile for most days gained. And I barely even count yesterday. I feel like we're just gonna almost ignore that. But yeah, anyway, we managed to go 8 days in a row, which is pretty massive to see here. There's all sorts of information, but yeah, you can see here run up, run down. The average is basically 4 days up or 4 days down before things either pause or go the other direction. Run ups, looks like the max that we've ever had right here, 14 days in a row of green. So maybe we'll break that. I don't know, on the next run, who knows. Run down is 8 days in a row. So nice to see that the pain doesn't continue too long, because it hurts. It hurts, my friends. Remember to hit the thumbs up if you guys are just joining. Really excited to see you here. Please feel free to share this video anywhere, your favorite social media. We're trying to get this channel back to where it was, and I need your help, guys, to make this the #1 spot for your crypto news roundup, what's going to be important. And so I ask for you guys to continue to help me out. You've been doing a great job, and thank you so much for all that support, guys. But anyway, we'll see how next week will go, by the way, because it will be moving. I will be moving yet again, and I will have to get internet and everything set up over there, but I don't think it's going to take me that long, so hopefully, fingers crossed, I'll be ready for that Wednesday video. If not, maybe I'll just do like a phone video update or something like that. But it has been a crazy week, so I could not skip this week, guys. Hi, nice to see you. Nice to see you, Steph Schwartz. It does feel a little bit, smells a little bit like 2017, no doubt. Best to you, man, in Germany. Nameless. Oh, man, you've been following since the ICO days. Those days gave us plenty to talk about every single day because of the crazy amount of ICOs and white papers we were looking at. Good times. Nice to see you, Nameless. So hope you've been well. And hey, Martian RC, nice to see you as well. So let's continue here. So what happened basically is the Fed had their meeting. They came out yesterday. Or no, I'm sorry, it wasn't the meeting yesterday. It was a CPI report. So this is the inflation report, the consumer inflation report. And it showed that inflation was hotter than expected. It was up 0.3% in January last month versus the month before in December over year, seasonally adjusted, up 0.2%. So basically, this is just saying inflation by the numbers that they're looking at, which are often criticized. I'm sure you've heard about that, how it might not be completely accurate and so on. But inflation trending up or not slowing down is a sign that maybe the Federal Reserve has not done enough to combat inflation by keeping interest rates high. So I think the market right now is not at all predicting that the Federal Reserve in their March meeting, which is coming up in 34 days, they're not going to be raising rates. This tool right here, the CME FedWatch tool, lets you see the probability of where folks think that, or traders think that the interest rate is going to be at the next FOMC meeting. So you can see 89.5% chance that it stays the same up here at this level, 525 to 550 basis points. And then 10.5% chance that they actually drop rates. I think a lot of folks are anticipating rate drops to happen at some point this year. That's been talked about a lot, and that's partly what might have started some of this bull run or some of this excitement and at least ended the bear market, was that so much had already happened raising interest rates. So now a pause or actually a reversal of rates would be good for risk assets like cryptocurrencies. And so this potentially drove capital into these assets. And so I think that's what folks were seeing. They were looking at this CPI data, the inflation data that came out yesterday, and saying, oh shoot, inflation is hot. That's not going to be good for risk assets. So Bitcoin is probably going to sell off here. Not a chance really that it breaks $50,000 and stays over that. And they took short positions and got wrecked, as we looked at before. So Bitcoin can always surprise, especially with the strength in the bull market as it drags up the whole market behind it. More interest coming out with crypto across the board right now, especially with the ETFs that are launching. So you have this old ETF product. We've talked about it many times, GBTC by Grayscale. It's now an ETF. It wasn't an ETF before, but it was one of the options for institutional traders and other accounts to get exposure to Bitcoin through their GBTC product. But it had high fees, being the only real thing to do that with in the United States anyways. It had a lot of volume, it had a lot of interest. But now with the launch of these other rival Bitcoin ETFs, namely the BlackRock ETF, which is right now, it looks like having the lion's share of trading. It's really having a run for its money here, the GBTC that is. The volume on IBIT, so that's BlackRock's ETF versus GBTC LMAO, Larry won, it's over. So Larry Fink, the CEO of BlackRock, winning here. So you can see that volume for Grayscale's product is 8.279 million, and it's 1.649 million for GBTC. So I don't know how Grayscale's gonna survive this one. Know what I'm saying? Well, they're still around somewhat, but we'll see how that proceeds. But yeah, a lot of interest in iShares Bitcoin Trust that we looked at. And it is accruing Bitcoin and Bitcoin. It's buying up Bitcoin. So this potentially is what's, driving down the supply even more, as there's this demand now from the iShares Bitcoin Trust BlackRock to hold more and more Bitcoin for their ETF. So you can see their Bitcoin holdings right here on their site, and it just continues to climb. It's currently at 105,280.32050 Bitcoin. So over 100,000 Bitcoin already, just launching like 3 weeks ago. Really massive amount to be getting. I mean, you're talking about like MicroStrategy, this company that's had this strategy of this. I don't know how micro it is. I guess if you're talking to Satoshis, it's a MicroStrategy, but really they're trying to accrue major strategy of accruing Bitcoin for their treasury holdings. And they've, in their time, continued to buy and buy over years. Props to Michael Saylor, right? He's either going to be the greatest villain of all time and stupid person, according to the really smart financial Wall Street people, or he's going to be a genius, right? He's going to be hailed as a genius for doing this. And I think they're calling themselves as a Bitcoin first development company now, by the way. I had just read that. But anyway, we're talking here about a new flippening that's going on, which is the amount of BlackRock Bitcoin and the amount of MicroStrategy Bitcoin on reserves here. And BlackRock now, even since this chart was made, is actually higher. So BlackRock has, as of February 11th, Bitcoin, you can see about 105,000 Bitcoin versus 190,000 Bitcoin that MicroStrategy has here. So the flippening would be this flippening would be when MicroStrategy holdings surpass BlackRock. Currently, MicroStrategy has about 1% of the Bitcoin in existence. Well, that's circulating right now, as you can see here. They were acquired at a total cost of $5.93 billion, or average $31,224 per Bitcoin. So because of this, their Bitcoin stash has hit a $3 billion unrealized profit. So like basically half of what they've put in, they've just gotten back an unrealized profit. I don't think they're trying to realize that profit just yet anyway. Those aren't like Tesla hands. MicroStrategy's got diamond hands. So yeah, quite massive. And now seeing that, you have MicroStrategy accruing 1% of the Bitcoins that are circulating. And you think about, for example, BlackRock catching up, other ETFs catching up, other companies that eventually want to catch up and have a sizable share of Bitcoin. Then eventually, as we've talked about before, potentially nations in the future trying to do that. And suddenly 21 million Bitcoin ever to exist does not look like a lot at all. And so that's potentially what's going to drive this to the moon, especially as you're looking at inflation, an opportunity for people to hedge against the US dollar. Bitcoin's going to increasingly come up as conversation. I'm hearing you have trading desks out there already calling customers and asking them to get into Bitcoin and add a position in the ETF. And this happening to a great degree. There's a lot of excitement about this. So it's going to be scarcer and scarcer for Bitcoin to happen here. And we also heard recently that there's going to be an Ethereum ETF coming up. Who is it that's trying to do that? Franklin starts with a T. Templeton. Is that what it is? Franklin Templeton. They're trying to get an Ethereum ETF now. We found out this week as well. So I think you're going to see continued climbs and other crypto altcoins following suit as well, like we've seen. And speaking of Ethereum, staking has been doing quite well as far as taking supply out of the markets. With Ethereum staking, we're talking about 25% of all the ETH now locked up. Huge, especially with how there is now a deflation rate. Let's head over and take a look actually at ultrasound. Ultrasound.money. And see if we can take an ultrasound look at what things at. Yeah, right now we're at negative 0.584% inflation per year for ETH, versus Bitcoin's plus 1.676% per year. So if this continues, I mean, at the end of the day, what matters is that there's going to be less supply available. And for Ethereum, it could be that it's being locked up in ETFs. It's getting locked up in staking. It's getting both locked up in ETFs that are staking it. Anyway, less out there on spot exchanges for traders that tend to be a little bit more fickle. When folks who buy ETFs through retirement accounts like the Bitcoin ETF, potential Ethereum ETF, and whatever follows, they don't really just sell. They're not trying to just gamble for the most part. They see it more as a long-term investment, and it just goes up over time for the most part. So I think that now we're getting more serious price floors here for Bitcoin. So like I heard that people should be giving Peter Schiff a wellness check right now because Bitcoin has not faltered very much at all here. Happy Valentine's Day indeed. Happy Valentine's Day, guys. And you, Beb, who's sitting on the other side over there. So Morpheus AI launched. So I just heard about a decentralized AI network. I know you're like, oh, ICOs, here we go again. But no, actually this one is standing out to me a little bit because you have Shapeshift founder contributing to the project. And I kind of like this idea of making Web3 more accessible by providing a neutral ChatGPT-like chat interface, enabling users to easily buy or sell crypto, send stable coins, access smart contracts, and use dApps and DeFi protocols. So imagine typing in there like, hey, lock up some ETH in Lido, generate STF, and then automatically lock that into Morpheus for me so that I can get some of those tokens as yield. And you just type that into a box and it happens. That I think is a really interesting idea to see, that you could use language with finance in some sort of way to ease things. I can see how that could go wrong, right? Like if it makes a mistake, you're kind of screwed. Anyway, I haven't gone through the white paper myself, I'll admit, but I think the idea is interesting. I don't run Linux and I don't have a Mac, so I'm not able to try to run a node and get involved with this, but I thought some of you might be interested in hearing about this. There's a lot of interest. I don't know where it's at right now, but they were minting these more tokens by locking up STF to the tune of over 52 million that had been deposited, and it's been a few more days since that. So sizable interest. And again, I think with Voorhees involved, this is a serious project, a more serious project. So heads up on that one if you had not heard of Morpheus AI. If you haven't seen this video here, it's circulating all over Twitter. It's all over Reddit. Check it out. I'm not going to play it because it has been on TV, and so I'll probably be hit with a strike or demonetization for playing something that was on CNBC. It's quite a segment that goes on here. But basically, Gary Gensler, the head of the SEC, is drilled by the panel of hosts during Squawk Box, and they seem to know or understand Bitcoin way better than Gary Gensler, who taught MIT. He's either willfully forgotten, but frankly, I think it's flagrant the way he's doing it. It seems to me, if you watch this segment, that he is trying to be like the head of the U.S. Treasury. He's got political aspirations. He's trying to be the head of the Fed. He speaks up central banks, how great they are. He talks about Bitcoin as being some sort of just different ledger. He's like, who would invest based on like how something is accounted? Yeah, people who want fair accounting, people who don't want opaqueness, people who don't want, as was mentioned by a host there, who don't want the fact that the Federal Reserve exists to enable politicians to print money willy-nilly to pay for anything. It just is not something that I think it's rather something that is gross and is driving people to want to look at this new method of accounting. So yeah, Gary Gensler not looking great here on TV at all, and being put to shame on national television. This is the kind of thing that's going to drive more attention, I think, to Bitcoin, because he was not prepared, I think, for this very well. And he's showing his bias, and it seems to me it has financial biases toward. I don't even think it's Wall Street, because they have the ability to make money on ETFs now. It's got to be some sort of political thing, right? Like I heard about this bill that's being passed, being put forth by Senator Warren, who hates crypto, and she's managed to get 19% of the Senate to agree to ban all of crypto. Like, good luck with that. Good luck with that. I don't think Wall Street's going to allow that. But yeah, it's this great war like against cryptocurrencies from governments that want to stay in power and continue to do so via the tragic failed architecture of central banking as we've known it. Anyway, Starknet blockchain, I heard about this as well. This is an airdrop you might be eligible to claim. A lot of hype around this one as well. Starknet has been building a zero knowledge proof layer 2 for Ethereum, and they have announced the Stark token, STRK, which is going to be airdropped by February 20th to roughly 1.3 million wallets eligible to receive it. So if you are eligible for this airdrop, you should definitely claim that. We've seen airdrops in the past like Uniswap be extremely rewarding, Arbitrum be extremely rewarding, so you wouldn't want to miss it, especially if you've interacted with Starknet in the past, or you're a non-Web3 open source developer. They're eligible to claim it as well. Builders and stakers, so if you're an Ethereum solo staker, you're eligible to receive this. That's really cool. Let's see. Also, if you've used any of these dApps that are powered by Starknet's predecessor, StarkX, you're eligible to claim some Stark. These dApps include borrowing and lending platform DYDX, very, very popular. Gaming-centric Layer 2 network Immutable X, which is up a lot on the day. Layer 2 bridge RhinoFi, and on-chain fantasy soccer game Sorare. Never heard of that one. But yeah, check that out. What is Starknet? Starknet is a Validity Rollup, aka ZK Rollup Layer 2 network that operates on top of Ethereum, enabling dApps to massively scale without compromising on security. It achieves this by bundling transactions into an off-chain computed Stark proof. This proof is then submitted to Ethereum as a single transaction, resulting in significantly higher throughput, faster processing times, and much lower costs, all while retaining the robust security of the Ethereum settlement layer. So people were often talking about in the bear market, this is the time to take positions. What do you guys think is going to be the next main narrative, right? Is it going to be like privacy coins? Is it, well, obviously not privacy coins. Is it going to be ICOs? Well, obviously not ICOs, but you get my idea. What's going to be the next NFTs? And talking about ZK rollups or layer 2s for Ethereum, that was a subject that came up a lot. So people were interacting with things like Starknet, if only because they might be eligible for an airdrop in the future, and that is the case now, so heads up to that. Unfortunately, if you're in certain areas like in the United States or UK sanctioned jurisdictions, or you're a person in Russia, Cuba, Iran, North Korea, Syria, or anybody on OFAC's list of sorry, you're screwed financially, you are not eligible to access the Starknet Provisions Program protocol. But if I'm hearing some users are able to get onto there by using a VPN, so it's not really difficult. Just saying. Not encouraging it if you're not eligible, right? You don't want to break terms, but just saying. If you are eligible, you know you're eligible, and you're having problems otherwise, then I just use a VPN. Anyway. SEC, oh yeah, there it is. That's the name of the, by the way, of the video. If you guys want to find it on YouTube with SEC Chair Gary Gensler, it's titled "SEC Chair Gensler: Crypto is a field that's been rife with fraud and manipulation." But again, it's kind of gold. And this is a little bit longer here than the 3-minute segment that I found on Twitter, so it might be interesting to check out. Ledger has integrated Coinbase into their product, into their hardware wallets, so that you can use Coinbase's Coinbase Pay API to basically buy right on your Ledger Live application or whatever, buy some cryptocurrencies directly into your Ledger, have those deposited without having to go to the website and then send and make mistakes. They're saying this is a way potentially to simplify the purchasing of cryptocurrencies while still having the ability to have self-custodianship of it. So I just wanted to give you a heads up. That's a new product that's come out right now, so you're aware. And yeah, just all sorts of excitement right now about crypto. It feels like many folks who are tuned into crypto right now have been insiders, have been people who've been following this through the bear market that have stuck around, people who are in traditional finance who are now being forced to pay attention. But the average person who, doesn't know that much about cryptocurrencies, isn't really talking about it just yet. That's really what this post is about here on Reddit, titled "Anyone Else Completely Shocked by How Well the Crypto Markets Are Doing Despite Almost Zero Attention Lately?" Like we've known in the past, that's what's driven a lot of the gains. Some of the gains that drove us like to $60,000, $70,000 Bitcoin was because of the average person getting involved. And it doesn't look like we're seeing that to a huge degree. Right now, you didn't even have a crypto advertisement in the Super Bowl. Where you had that in the past. You had crypto was constantly in the news. I heard it all over the radio in Los Angeles. There was a crypto advert in the Super Bowl. The Real World F1 team had a crypto sponsor. You know what happened with UFC. Retail drove BTC to those ridiculous highs almost overnight. And right now, I thought this was interesting, this comment down here, so I just wanted to share with you as an aside. According to the Bitcoin ticker, the sum of asks on Coinbase has been falling since February 6th. It was 6,500 coins for at least a month. So we're talking about basically in the order book, Bitcoin that is being sold, that is available there and has a price if you want to buy it at. And we're seeing less and less Bitcoin available for purchase there on Coinbase. So it was 6,500 coins for at least a month. Then by the 12th of February, it had fallen by 1,000 coins. That's a lot. That's like what, like 15% maybe. It had fallen by 1,000 coins to 5,500. As of 10 a.m. this morning, it's down 1,300 more to 4,200 coins available for ask there on Coinbase. So assuming it is right, the supply side is depleting. More and more people are just speculating how it's going to become ever difficult soon to really get to that target of having one Bitcoin that so many people hope to have. So the new joke is having what, like, I don't know, 1 million Satoshis or 1 Satoshis. I don't know what they're talking about. You get what I'm saying. It's getting difficult to accrue this thing. That's pretty much the show that I got for you guys today. We covered quite a bit. Make sure you go back if you hadn't checked it out. Maybe we talked about something you missed that might be relevant, like the airdrop or why crypto prices were expected to fall, but instead continue to climb. And I thank you guys so very much for joining me, lending me your support, showing up for the live streams, and I wish you all a happy Valentine's Day. We'll finish with our quote of the day. This one I hadn't heard before, so I'm excited to share with you guys. Every day is a bank account, and time is our currency. No one is rich. No one is poor. We've got 24 hours each, by Christopher Rice. Get out there, guys. Enjoy your week in crypto, and I'll catch you guys as soon as I can. Take care, much love, and stay cryptic. Peace.